Stories I Only Tell My Friends. Written and read by Rob Lowe. To Cheryl, Matthew, and John Owen. You make my life worth living. And to the memory of my mother, Barbara. Chapter 1. I had always had an affinity for him, an admiration for his easy grace, his natural charisma, despite the fact that for the better part of a decade my then-girlfriend kept a picture of him running shirtless through Central Park on her refrigerator door. Maybe my lack of jealousy towards this particular pin-up was tamped down by empathy for his loss of his father and an appreciation for how complicated it is to be the subject of curiosity and objectification from a very young age. That said, when my girlfriend and others would constantly swoon over him, when I would see him continually splashed across the newspapers, resplendent like an American prince, I wasn't above the occasional male thought of, screw that guy. As a person navigating the waters of public scrutiny, you are often unable to hold on to your personal heroes or villains. Inevitably, you will meet your hero, and he may turn out to be less than impressive, while your villain turns out to be the coolest cat you've ever met. You never can tell, so eventually you learn to live without the rooting interest in the parade of stars, musicians, sports champions, and politicians. And you lose the ability to participate in the real American pastime, beating up on people you don't like and glorifying people you do. I had not yet learned that truism when he and I first met. I was at the point where I was deeply unhappy with my personal life, increasingly frustrated about where my career seemed to be going, although from the outside it would probably appear to anyone observing that I was among the most blessed 24-year-olds on the planet. And in an effort to find substance, meaning, and excitement, I had become deeply involved in the world of politics. It was at one of these political events, the kind where movie stars mix with political stars, each trading in each other's reflective glory, both looking to have the other fill something missing inside of them, that we were introduced. "Rob Lowe, I'd like you to meet John Kennedy Jr.," someone said. "Hey man, good to meet you," I said. He smiled. We shook hands, and I was relieved that my then-ex-girlfriend wasn't there to notice that he was slightly taller than I was, or to comment on who had better-looking hair. We made some small talk, and I remember thinking, how does he do it? How does he carry the scrutiny? How does he attempt a normal life? Is it even possible? Is it even worth trying? He was charming and gracious, and didn't seem to be unnerved by the multitudes of eyeballs stealing glances as we spoke. Eventually, as we were both single guys in our 20s, the talk turned to girls. "Maybe we should get out of here. Go find where the action is," he said. I looked at him. "Dude, you're fucking JFK Jr., all right? You don't need to go anywhere." He looked at me and laughed. And as he did, I saw a glimpse of his father and was reminded of his family's legacy of sacrifice and tragedy, and was glad that he was carrying the mantle so well and with so much promise for the future. Eventually, we went our separate ways, never teaming up to hunt down any fun that night, although I did later wrestle open a wet bar at 2 a.m. with a vice presidential shortlist candidate. Over the years, I watched him navigate the currents of fame, dating, career ups and downs, curious to see how his life would play out. Sometimes he and I would both appear on those shameful lists of hunks. Can there be a more degrading or frankly gross word than hunk? Hunk of what? Hunk of wood? Hunk of cheese? Yikes. There may have even been a girl or two whom we both coveted, but that was the extent of my contact with him. In the late 90s, my wife Cheryl and I were on a romantic ski vacation in Sun Valley, Idaho. We still felt like newlyweds, in spite of having 2 beautiful baby boys, from whom we'd escaped for a rare evening out. Sun Valley is one of my favorite spots. It's old school, as the site of North America's first chairlift, glamorous, the home of Hemingway and early Hollywood royalty, and boasts one of the greatest ski mountains in the country. I'd been going there since the mid-1980s, and had always liked the mix of people you might encounter at any given time. One evening at a big holiday party, I felt a tap on the shoulder. It was John Jr. "How've you been, man?" he asked with a smile. I introduced him to Cheryl. He congratulated us on our recent marriage. After a while, Cheryl went off on her own, leaving the 2 of us alone in the corner, watching the party move on around us. Even in this more rarefied crowd, you could feel the occasional glare of curious observation. A ski instructor passed
Sample complete. Ready to continue?